go. Off screen. Ooh, off we go. All right, here we go. Murphy's List. Fade in. Commercial studios. Evening. In the studios that promotes commercial products, the announcer is in front of the camera and is ready to introduce this new service.
Hello. Do you own a house that needs to end up worse than it already is? Has your insurance company denied you compensation for fixes you need to make, or the deductible is so high? What's the point? We get thousands of letters every day begging us to help.
The announcer points to the new service called Murphy's List.
Here it is, the service you have all been waiting for. It's called Murphy's List. We have compiled for you a list of tradesmen that will absolutely guarantee your house will end up in a worse condition than before they arrived. The success rate is running at 95%. Before we talk to some satisfied users of the service, I'd like to ask the audience if they have any questions.
Then when the audience raises his hand, the announcer points at Phil to speak.
My name is Phil. I'd like to ask, are the tradesmen insured?
Hi, Phil. Thank you for your question. Yes, they are. We have special insurance companies that insure our tradesmen.
Is there a complaint procedure?
Oh, we don't get many complaints, Phil, but rest assured, if they don't do the work to your satisfaction, the insurance pays for them to come back and wreak more havoc.
Can I get references from people who have used them for their destructive projects?
Absolutely. Once you've signed up with us, we'll provide 3 references.
Very cool. Thanks.
Thanks for your question, Phil. Next question, please.
Then the audience raises their hand and the announcer points to Joan to speak.
Hi, Phil. I'd like to ask, how accurately do the tradesmen complete the mayhem? I mean, what's the process?
Hi, Joan. Well, I'm glad you asked me that. The tradesmen, for whatever job they're doing, will first evaluate the shortcomings stated in your insurance appraisal. Then they will customize the work order to cause damage equivalent to the shortfall. That is guaranteed. They will, of course, discuss the work before starting.
What if I suggest tweaks to the work? For instance, if I feel the damage being planned isn't enough, can I ask for additional mayhem?
Oh, for sure, Joan. The tradesman will work with the customer to their satisfaction.
Thanks. That puts my mind at ease.
No. Thank you, Joan. Anyone else have a question?
Then when the audience raises his hand, the announcer points to Andy to speak.
Yes, my name is Andy. What if they do too much damage and it ends up more than the shortfall?
Hi, Andy. Great question. So if the damage is more than the shortfall, that's actually a good thing, as the insurance will pay more. All our tradesmen try to be as accurate as possible. The insurance companies allow plus or minus 10% of the estimated cost of the fix. We work well within that.
But what happens if it's outside those parameters?
In that case, our tradesmen will fix up the damage so that it falls within the tolerance. It is all guaranteed.
So are you saying your tradesmen are qualified to fix things as well?
Yes, Andy. We have some very talented tradesmen who take pride in not only wreaking havoc on things, but also rebuilding them.
Thanks.
Any more questions from our audience?
Then when the audience raises his hand, the announcement points to Glenn to speak.
Hi, my name is Glenn. What about the tools? Will the tradesmen use top-notch tools?
Hi, Glenn. Yes, indeed. Only the best for our tradesmen. For all those that wish to be on Murphy's List, we send out our team to inspect their premises and their tools. If they pass the inspection, then they get to be on Murphy's List.
One more question. So have you ever had tradesmen being thrown off of Murphy's List?
Yes, we have. Just last week, we had to cut one of our tradesmen and his team off the list. He just wasn't cutting it.
How so?
He was selected by a number of our customers, and he just wasn't able to wreak the kind of mayhem his customers wanted. He was consistently falling short, so we had to let him go.
So do you have ratings?
Glad you asked that, Glenn. Yes, we do. We call it the hammer rating. The greater the number of hammers, the better the tradesman for wreaking havoc.
When the audience raises their hand, the announcer points to Sandra to speak.
Hi, my name is Sandra. So following on from Glenn, do the tradesmen with largest number of hammers mean they're more expensive?
Hi, Sandra. Yes, that is correct. Getting a hammer against your name is not trivial. The tradesmen work very hard to earn the hammer. Of course, the number of hammers is determined by customer feedback, so ultimately, the hammer is in your hands.
Thank you. Good to know.
Thanks for all the questions. Let's move on and talk to people that have actually used tradesmen from Murphy's List for their projects. Our first guest is Charles. Good evening, Charles.
Charles is brought in and shown shown to a seat beside the announcer's seat. He sits down to the announcer who also sits down.
Good evening. Well, our roof was leaking. We filed a claim with our insurance company and they sent some estimators over.
How much was that for you?
Not very well at all. They crawled all over the roof, not sure why. All they had to do was look at the place it was leaking. Pretty amateur, if you ask me.
Sounds like they really weren't sure what they were looking for.
I should say so. Anyway, they made a report which said the repair to the roof would cost a mere $100.
What? Just $100? That's daylight robbery.
The insurance costs $150 per month and the deductible is $1,000. Insane, right?
Good grief, Charles. That's so bad. So, what did you do?
Well, I got in touch with Gerald's List and got them over. They said they could help a little by dropping a 10-pound branch around where the leak was. They estimated the damage could be up to $1,100. And I got a second opinion with a tree feller and he said not so. His estimation was more like $400. Not enough.
What did you do then?
So I called you guys. Well, wow, you were super efficient and you recommended we pick a tradesman with 4 hammers. So we did. Jules roofers were the chaps we picked. They were amazing.
What did they do?
Good grief, what didn't they do? They set up a projectile thrower, which was filled with 5-pound rocks, which were then projected onto our roof where the leak was.
What was the result?
A bloody great hole in the roof.
Did they do anything to temporarily cover up the damage? Make like that, they tried to fix it.
Yes, they covered it up with some gorse and heather in an attempt to keep the water out of great roots.
What happened with the insurance?
Well, we got the insurance company back in. We complained bitterly about the poor estimation they had done the first time. Well, sir, they came back in and re-estimated it. It cost $2,000 to fix minus our deductible, which under normal circumstances would have cost us $1,000, but they felt so embarrassed about such a sucky job they had done the first time, they waived the deductible also.
Brilliant! So it cost you nothing apart from paying Jules.
Yes, and Jules only charged us $200 for his work, worth every penny. Thank you.
No, thank you, Charles, for coming over and telling us your story.
The audience claps as Charles is led away, and the next storyteller, Sophia, is shown to her seat.
Our second guest is Sophia. Good evening, Sophia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, Sophia, what's your story?
Well, we had our water tested and it was found that our levels of selenium was slightly high. It was measured at 0.04 parts per million and the safe level was 0.02.
Yes, that would certainly be a cause for concern. What are the effects of higher levels of selenium?
Though it is an essential nutrient at low levels, above 0.05 parts per million, it can cause hair and fingernail changes, damage to the peripheral nervous system, fatigue, and irritability. I could literally become a bald schizophrenic.
Whoa, not trivial stuff.
No, not at all. We approached the local government and requested very nicely for them to provide water coolers.
And did they?
Nope. They flatly refused even when presented with such damning evidence.
So how did Murphy's List help?
Well, we contacted one of the tradesmen in Murphy's List, one with a high number of hammers, of course.
Of course. What did they do?
Well, they went to the main water line that supplies our house and installed a reverse filtration system.
What's that?
Well, normally a filtration system cleans up the incoming water, and they installed one that actually dirties up the water, but it dirties up the water with non-lethal discolored solution.
Very ingenious.
Yes, I thought so. It contains chocolate and M&Ms and stuff like in water. Looks disgusting, but it really tastes really good.
So how did you get this by the local government?
Well, we showed up during a meeting where they were having a particularly heated debate. Introduced the dirty samples from our faucets, and then it was easy. We dared them to try it. Of course they didn't. We got our water coolers. Brilliant.
Awesome. Good job, Sophia.
Oh, no, not at all. Good job, Murphy's List.
Well, there you have it. 2 satisfied customers. You've heard of mayhem. Well, Murphy's List is a chance to bring catastrophe to your project. The insurance company or local government won't know what hit them. We're better than Andrew's list and more sophisticated than Gerald's list, so try us out. Good night.
Fade out. The end.
Hey, sorry about all the noise, guys. I didn't realize I was not on